So, the biggest news there is right now, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm proud of him. This is one of his main goals. Even back when I first met him, something he's always wanted to do was box and to get in there and test himself against the best to ever do it. And I'm just happy for him, man. Everything came to fruition. So I couldn't be happy for the guy.
So is he going to be like active like in like a training camp with you most of the time, or with like other people?
I don't know that yet. We're gonna sit down Friday. We got dinner with the team. Myself, Dewey, Markel, Francis, Randy. We'll sit down and we'll go over everything and discuss kind of what our schedules look like, where we're going to be. I mean, obviously we all have our stable of fighters as well, but this takes precedence. So it's going to really matter on what Francis wants and what he needs and our availability as well. So a lot of these questions I don't really know the answers to yet, but we'll get that all figured out Friday.
Absolutely. And with everything that like there's been like some controversy and everything with like the pay and everything. Like what is like your thoughts been on that? Like especially with like a lot of his opinions have been like floating out around, considering he's now moved to the PFL, but he hasn't had a PFL fight yet. Do you prefer him more in the PFL or UFC, or you have no preference?
Zero preference. I mean, competition wise, I prefer the UFC because
right.
I think the best talent's going to be in the UFC. But
absolutely.
Again, like this has nothing to do with me or my preference. Competition wise, yeah. I mean, the John Jones of the world, the Sergey Pavliches, there's guys still, even that Stipe fight, getting the trilogy. There's a lot of great fights, talent and competition wise. I think you're going to be in the UFC, but Francis maximizing his potential and star power and earning power. He's striking while the iron's hot, and he's taking advantage of that right now while he's in his prime.
Okay. And with Dana White, he was saying whenever he was in an interview, I think a month or two ago, he was like, someone, I think it was the Mac Life, that was asking him, will Francis Ngannou ever be back in the UFC? And he's like, I usually say never, like never say never, but this is something I will say that will never happen again. Like, do you agree with him?
It's his promotion. So if he feels that way and he doesn't want to back in there, that's completely up to him. But I think Dana is a very smart businessman. I think he also wears his emotions on his sleeve. So maybe in that part of where he's at in the relationship with Francis, that's how he felt. But I think time heals all. If there's a position or an opportunity to make that John Jones fight, I think that's the fight all parties do want. Especially now that Francis is going out and, obviously we have the Tyson Fury fight signed. We haven't competed yet. We haven't fought yet. But once that hurdle is crossed over, then I think it opens up a lot of other things for Francis in his future, So I'm a never say never guy. And I think I'm just an optimistic dude by nature. So, but I think that, that door is never going to be closed.
I mean, yeah, that's good that at least there's like one side that agrees with that, because I really do want to see him back in the UFC. There's a lot of good fights for him to make, and considering heavyweight is one of the best pay-per-view selling divisions, most exciting divisions yet. So that's why it's good that he's going to be at least for the PFL for a while, now board of the Africa part of the side of the organization. And that's a really, really big deal. And now that he's going to be going to boxing, it's going to make his name even larger, win or lose against Tyson Fury. And do you know with I'm not for sure yet. I hear it's under boxing rules for that fight, but is it an exhibition or is it actually going to be a pro fight for any of the 6 belts?
No, I don't know that yet either. I haven't heard.
Yeah, it's
he called me last night. He just got back home, so he just called me last night. It was like 10 o'clock. He was out eating a steak at Barry's Steakhouse, and he's like, "Hey, come have a steak." I'm like, "Bro, it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm already like getting ready for bed."
Yeah.
So he had just got home, and he just texted me right before I got on with you. So, a lot of this is. I mean, I knew about the fight. I knew about the announcement. But I'm so busy, like I didn't even ask, I don't even know any of this shit.
Yeah.
So that's the nice thing is we'll sit down on Friday and get a lot of this cleared up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it was only announced. I haven't even seen like I think it's probably under like Top Rank or something. It's usually what Tyson Fury is under, and with ESPN pay-per-view. But it was only ESPN Ringside that posted about it. There wasn't even like a full like actual poster, but it's confirmed for sure. But there's not, I think the rules and whatever is going to be on the line is really what the issue is. There's no information on that yet. I saw Tyson Fury just his casual Instagram stories that he always like rants or something about anybody. He's like, Francis Ngannou, I'm gonna knock you out, you dosser, and everything. So he hasn't said anything about any kind of rules or anything. He's only been talking about contracts with so many different fighters that have fallen through. So yeah, and he's still like Ngannou's mainly at your gym, right? With like Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis and all those guys.
Oh yeah. Francis is full-time guy here. So, he wreaks havoc around these these parts. So he's our guy, man. And I'm just excited to get him back in the room and get him back into, doing anything, boxing, mixed martial arts, whatever it may be. But our room's much better when Francis is in it.